What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. Appreciate you guys for coming by. Like this video if you will, subscribe to the page, and swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video, and blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. So it seems that we're coming upon strange times, doesn't it? What is it, the middle of August right now? And who knows what the hell's going to happen next? You got all this world dissent going on, wars, inflation, expensive food and gasoline and everything else. Then you have these fucking idiots coming in telling you can't drill in your own country and you gotta get it from somewhere else and ship it to you from thousands of miles away, and somehow that's better for the environment. In turn, just causing those prices to go up exponentially. You know what I'm saying? So are we fucked? Is kind of the question I'm begging here. So in 2020, I decided to purchase some of my first silver. It was at about $26, $27 an ounce, which strangely enough, it's in the same place right now. I also purchased some gold. I bought the gold at about $1,800 an ounce, and here's a piece of it right here. I'll show you. So this was about $1,800. All right, nice ounce of gold right here. And now this is selling for about $2,400. So gained quite a bit of value, perception anyway. Because that's kind of what this is, right? It's a storage of value. But in volatile times like this, I guess you might as well consider it an investment, because you can definitely come out way on top if you buy and sell at the right time. But most importantly, it's more of a safe, secure thing to purchase. A lot of us are familiar with these, right? The paper money. And I didn't really realize this growing up so much. But the paper money, really that's all it is. It's just paper money. And they're even trying to take away the paper, So with that being said, it doesn't have any intrinsic value, any practical use behind it. And some communist in office in the 70s or something, who was it? I can't remember who it was. Some president in the 70s. They took the dollar off the gold standard, so it's no longer backed by a certain amount of gold that the bank's supposed to hold. All right, so that's a bit of a problem, because what that allowed them to do is just print the hell out of these, or what's coming, or what is anyway, is they just add a bunch of them on the digital screens, and they can inflate it as much as they want. So, of course, what that does is it devalues this one, devalues the dollar in and of itself. It devalues this $20 bill. They say in 2020, what would cost you $100 in groceries now costs you like $200, $250. And they say that all those studies are skewed. It's a bunch of bullshit. They're skewed studies, intentionally skewed to make it seem as though inflation didn't hit us as hard as what it actually did. And then you have these fucking idiots who are saying, oh yeah, we're going to regulate beef more so you can't eat beef. We're going to put these masks on the cows or something. And it's just going to, it's a perpetual dissenting cycle, which in itself is going to really, it's going to up the price of beef. We're already seeing that, which is why that shit needs to be deregulated. The more people you have in the market producing the stuff, the cheaper the shit's going to get. We see this with everything. And we've seen it with the Mary Jane, and back when you needed a Medicard to purchase it, you only had X amount of people growing it. That shit was expensive. And just as I predicted, once the states legalize it, what that's going to do is you're going to get all sorts of Joes and Toms or whatever in their house growing it themselves there. And it's going to make a surplus in the market, which in turn is going to be a race to the bottom in terms of the price. So what we saw then is, the Mary Jane got really, really cheap. And all the folks who were getting rich off selling it, back when it was a hell of a lot more regulated, well, they had to get out of the damn business because all of a sudden their standard of living dropped tremendously. You know what I mean? And I had a friend who was doing that. He was making about $14,000 a month. And I told him about that and I warned him about it. I said, hey, don't vote for this shit if you want to keep your business thriving. He's like, oh, no, it's going to help the business if it gets legalized. More people are going to be buying it. I was like, oh, we'll see how that works out. And of course, it went just the way I said it would. Another example is the milk. These fucking communists don't want us to be able to purchase things that we want with our own money, even when it comes to milk from a damn cow. Under the guise that we're going to make ourselves sick or something. Well, fuck them. I can do what I want with my money, you commies. But you see where I'm going with this? So they regulate the hell out of the market. Now, if you want real milk, that's not like pasteurized and all that bullshit, or however you say it, I don't really care. It's just they do all sorts of shit to it in the factory. And when it comes then to the grass-fed ones, you got to go through all these loopholes to buy the shit from a real damn cow. You know what I'm saying? And what that does is you have less people in the market, so the milk is expensive as fuck. My wife and I have been buying it for a while. It was $18 a gallon. And then the bitch just kept raising the prices because why not? There's no one else competing with her. So inflation's going up everywhere else. She might as well raise her prices too. You know what I mean? And if there were a hell of a lot more of her on the market, well, it'd be what we saw with the Mary Jane. You know what I mean? It'd be what we see with everything. When there's a surplus of the fucking product, it causes the prices to become a race to the bottom when you have enough people working in it trying to make money. All right. So that shit's going to drop. And I mean, hell, if it wasn't regulated at all, we'd probably be buying that shit for $2 or $3 a gallon from the real grass-fed milk from the farmers. You know what I mean? So, point being, this has been infiltrated, and to an extent, it's a scam. All right? Like, it's important to have it right now because it's how our economy functions. But if you're thinking long-term or if you're thinking self-preservation, unfortunately, you got to start looking into other shit. Because who knows what the hell's going to happen with this. I mean, I think that Trump's going to get in office, and it's going to be fun to watch. You're going to have a bunch of fucking idiots burning shit down, screaming, trying to destroy their fucking cities, and hopefully, they call in National Guard to zap them, smoke them, gas them, or whatever, because these fuckers are destroying people's private property. Which comes to another thing that I have here, which you might want to have on hand. But if that happens, even with that being said, he gets in office or whatever, it's going to cause a lot of folks could be mad. You know what I mean? A lot of other entities around the world are going to be upset because they've been taking advantage of the United States for fucking decades. And if we're going to try to get more manufacturing here and tax the hell out of their imports, who knows what the hell is that's going to do with the dollar on a world scale. In which case, we might be entering uncertain times whichever way this whole thing goes. If you get the commie in office, the inflation is just going to keep going up and up and up, and they're going to force minimum wage and shit like that, which in itself is going to drive up the prices of everything and get a lot of people out of business. In which case, it's going to focus in on just the most wealthy and rich who are able to actually provide jobs. So we're going to be fucked. You know what I mean? I mean, it sounds good. They say that's like heroin or something. It feels good, but it's a really bad idea. And it ends up turning out far worse than before you were taking it. You know what I mean? That's kind of what shit like that is when you get a commie in office or when you try to force the minimum wage or all this other shit. So, yeah, we're up for some interesting times, man. Which is why I'm making this video on. You might want to buy some of this shit. What I did is I bought one of these, some of these gold backs, because these actually have vendor value as well. See this thing, it says $1 right there. So at least this thing can work as $1. But in addition to that, it has a value in gold. This is 1/1000th of an ounce in gold. So the melt value of this damn thing is like $2.40. You see what I'm saying? I don't know why the hell I just had a thumbs down on this thing. That's my computer kind of reads my gestures and it puts these little emojis up there and shit. I'm going to have to turn that off. I don't know why the hell it's doing that, but I think it's my computer. I got this new MacBook Air. I think if I do a thumbs up, it does a thumbs up, right? Yeah, thumbs up. So if you guys will like this video, hit the thumbs up button. But you see here, I bought this. This is 32 ounces of silver right here. That's a big, thick old bar. Look at that big thickie. And this shit just, it's really heavy. I mean, it feels valuable. I mean, this is made of paper, you know what I mean? But yeah, more importantly, this isn't backed by anything anymore. That's the problem. Is all your trust is in your government now with this thing, and they can print the hell out of it, inflate the shit out of it. What are we? We're $36 trillion in debt or something like that. And it just keeps going up and up, and the interest on that is, I don't even know how much. It's billions and billions of fucking dollars, probably a month to pay for this shit, you know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. So with that being said, you got to start putting your money somewhere else. And I mean, when you got this stuff, the banks can even do something called a bail-in where they keep your fucking money and you can't even get it. And then all of a sudden your money becomes an investment that's reliant on how they invest it and where it goes. So, I mean, yeah, banks can do bail-ins as well if you have cash in there. And they say, here's what's really interesting. You know how I said the price of silver hasn't really changed since 2020? On one hand, that could draw a lot of questions and concerns, right? But they say that it's artificially deflated the price of silver because in general, silver should be about 1/10 or so the price of gold, but it's far, far from that. You know what I mean? It's like 1/80th or something crazy like that, or maybe even worse. It's probably worse. So with that being said, the way they're able to artificially keep down the price is people buy stocks in silver, which these entities act like they have a bunch of it on hand, but they actually don't. So they have enough backing to act as though they have X amount on hand, where in general, if people start asking for their money back, they could give it to them. But there's far less silver available than what is on paper. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they're able to keep this price way down. And this shit has practical value. They use this stuff in medical supplies. They use this stuff in medicine. They use this stuff in electronics, which is really important, right? And weapons. I mean, they use this shit in everything. And that's why it has an intrinsic value. And of course, people historically would use it like for jewelry and stuff, but now it's worth even more when it comes to its intrinsic value. There's even more of a demand for it because this shit is all in our electronics, and people didn't have electronics back in the day. But you see where I'm going with this? That's why it's important to have some of these shit on hand, man. And you got to bury it, you got to hide it, you got to put it in a damn vault, you got to put it in your uncle's yard. So you got to do shit like that with it. But yeah, it's something to really consider right now because of the uncertain times. But I'm curious, what do you guys have to say about this? What have you been investing in? And yeah, I know I've talked a lot of shit about woke coin in the past, Bitcoin and all that, and the digital currencies. And I still kind of stand where I'm at with that. I mean, this shit is backed by nothing, and it's reliant on a grid to even function. And it actually is a net negative when it comes to its power consumption to exist. You know what I mean? So it's just you have to trust those entities. And basically, Bitcoin is the only one that I would consider putting some money into. And I have a little tiny bit, not a lot. Because there's a cap on the market in terms of how many can be produced. Unlike how I said about the dollar, they just keep adding to the cap. It's like, okay, let's add another trillion of these things in the market. Let's add another trillion today. Let's add another trillion tomorrow. With Bitcoin, I think the cap is 21 million. So what you keep buying of that is just shares of one. You know what I mean? Of just shares of what is that 21 million. So the share obviously keeps going up as more people are buying it. But yeah, that's not a horrible. I mean, I wouldn't put a ton of money into it. It's quite a gamble. At least this shit isn't a gamble, and at least, like I said, at least this one has counter value. But I mean, more importantly, this stuff can transition you from one currency to the next. Like you say, oh, listen, man, that's not going to do any good if the shit hits the fan anyway. Well, yeah, it's going to hold you over for the next economy and whatever the hell sort of currency they're going to have. Then you could buy a bunch of it with this and potentially be rich. You know what I mean? But more, this isn't about getting rich, though, quick. This is about preserving your wealth and staying ahead of inflation is what this shit's all about. And that's the problem with the woke coins and all that is a lot of that is the shoeshine boys giving you stock advice. Because a lot of those folks who say, oh yeah, buy more digital coin, buy more this and that, buy Ethereum or whatever the hell, buy more Bitcoin. A lot of these folks have jobs. A lot of these are kids who have jobs, who work for somebody else. So they have that bend and lean, and I can't blame them for it, but they're desperate to get the hell out of their job. I don't want to work a job either. I haven't worked a job in 12 years. I'm a hustler, so I think it's more important to, that's something to really consider is all these boys who are working jobs for other people, kissing some other man's ass. They're desperate to quickly get rich and get the hell out of there because they don't want to be working for some other guy. So they're all more inclined to just throw more money on these Bitcoins and shit when they're going up. You know what I mean? But then because of the way they operate, fundamentally, these are people who work jobs for other people. So when they see the market start going down, they get sweaty, then they sell it, and then it causes a race to the bottom and the whole fucking market plummets. You know what I mean? So that's why when a lot of them are saying, oh yeah, buy it. Oh, my cousin's telling me to buy it. I see it going up. My cousin's a financial advisor, this or that. My sister's a financial advisor, and you see it all going up. That's when you know it's time to sell yours because all these kids are buying it and it's going to make it go up and they're all working jobs for other people. So they're behind that mentality. So they want to throw their money into shit and get rich quick because these gurus on YouTube or whatever tell them to do that. But it makes it just so volatile. You know what I'm saying? It makes it really volatile. Another thing to invest is a boomstick. I'll show you that in the next video, but you guys can kind of see the side of it here. Yeah, look at that. So that's another thing to invest in and carry hand cannons as well. I carry them when I go out and about in town. I mean, these fucking idiots are saying defund the police and we're going to confiscate your guns, and plus they're going to destroy the fucking economy. They're telling, oh, everyone's racism, sexism, this, that, and the third. They're just pissing everybody off. Everybody hates each other. You can't rely on the popo to come and help you out when a bunch of thugs or gang or whatever, when a swarm is coming into your house because they're desperate and starving. People of all sorts of kinds or whatever. From all sorts of places, from, your fucking neighbors will do it if shit gets bad enough. And they might be just like you. You know what I mean? You can't trust anyone when this shit really hits the fan. And that's why you need a lot of boom boom. And that's why you can't just have a freaking lever action thing. You got to be able to do what's necessary to take out the fucking horde. You know what I mean? When it's just yourself and your wife or something. But, so, that's my word on that. If you guys will, let me know in the comments your thoughts on these matters, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace be with you.